Everyone, EG Brain CM here, and I'm going to be kind of walking through the just released The Taken King reveal trailer for Destiny. Now, this is just released today by Bungie, and this is going to be actually the next expansion, kind of a full-fledged DLC for Destiny. Now, unlike the other DLC, this one will probably retail for $40, which is almost basically a whole game. But let's just kind of see what things they show us, and we can talk a little bit more. So the story is basically about Oryx, whose son you killed here in the raid with his own sword, which is clear. He's the villain, antagonist in this series. There's going to be new spaces, new worlds, and as you can kind of see right here is there's a whole new mechanic for enemies. Now, Bungie has previously reskinned enemies. A good example is the type of Shanks in the House of Wolves. Now here it looks kind of like the same sort of thing, so it looks like Oryx is stealing the enemies through some sort of energy field and then basically recreating almost copies of them as shadow figurines. Later in here you actually see some action of the shadow figurines, but it's nice to see a different type of element. Hopefully these shadow features, these enemies will actually have new abilities, not simply just a reskinned version of the same enemy. So here you can see what Oryx is. He's kind of like a wizard meets Boomer meets Oryx meets a gargoyle. That's how it looks like. He looks like he means business. So here you can see some new bosses, looks like. Now this kind of arena almost resembles something like the Prison of Elders, which was fantastic, but adding new bosses, even though they're still similarly, here you see just a large cabal. Now you have a winged jetpack on the back. But other than that, it's probably still gonna be the same bullet sponge, just a new level. Here you can kind of see the Guardians walking up to I presume probably a new intro to the level. Obviously new gear, new guns, that's to be expected. Very eerie, nice build, new spacecrafts, hopefully new social space will be here. Now here we get the first sign of the new third subclass, which is the bow for the hunter. Later on you actually see it in use. So it kind of shoots an energy beam at a single target. It looks like you only have one shot though, it's not rechargeable, so you only have one shot, but it's probably an instant kill. Now with the Warlock you have electricity, and now if you actually back up here you can see it only shoots 2 pulses, but it chains between the enemies. So most likely there's going to be a chain reaction damage to it. Which is fantastic for clearing large hordes, especially since this expansion pack is kind of once again centered around the Hive. Taking out those Thrall with the Warlock should be a lot easier with this subclass. And you have the Titan here, which is basically a fire hammer, like Thor-like thing, which looks like almost got a Void Ray meets just Solar Burn. There's a splash damage area to it, but there's also a couple parcels that kind of jut out from the initial shot. And just some more image. Once again, you can kind of see a lot new helmets. The wolf looks pretty sweet, and a couple guns, and the enemy and the shadow figurines alongside them. This is them just dying, but it looks pretty cool. It looks like all enemies and taken advantage of by Oryx, not just the small ones. Now that was an interesting feature, the ability for one shadow enemy to split into 2. Once again, if it's just simply the ability to duplicate themselves, it's not that game changer, but hopefully that's just the first of several different specific abilities that hopefully each race picks up. But once again, these supers look fantastic, and here we have Oryx again. Great backdrops, just like what we expect. So there you can see the bow in action. It looks like still a single shot, and it shoots straight. I didn't see any decrease due to obviously gravity on a planet. So just a close-up, once again, new armor, new gun, helmets, etc. And then the final scene just is terrifying of orcs. And that is the new expansion. Now this comes out in September 15th. Now this is first, it will be available first for PS4 owners. They will also get a new strike and a multiplayer map just like before. And as you can see right at the end here, they do announce a Legendary Edition, which is fantastic for those who are new to the game. It's basically like a Game of the Year edition of games, so you get the base game and all the expansions up until September, which is a really good way of getting new people into the same series. They won't have to catch up. I almost feel robbed from different content. But I just want to kind of give you a quick breakdown of this trailer since it was just released. Thanks for listening. Please hit the subscribe button and the like.